Hi everyone, good morning. I just finished the most incredible healing meditation and healing work with one of my incredible friends, and she was honestly sent to me, Maria. I've healed a lot of my feminine wound with her, so I wanted to share that what we talked about and what was healed in the session that we had together. And we talked about the mother wound. The mother wound. And we talked about how all the relationships that we have are a reflection of the relationship we have with our moms. So if your relationship with your mom was distorted, there's a lot of wound there. You felt manipulation, gaslighting, and that's something that I experienced with my mom. Naturally, you're going to have resistance with relationships with women, relationship with even with men, with money, with work, with any type of relationship that requires intimacy and authenticity and courage will be affected because of that mother wound. And I'm diving deeper. I'm like going right into that wound. And it has been liberating, to say the least, to just go deep, just dive deep into that. And at first, for me, it became going from denial and wanting to protect my mom and the love that I was constantly seeking from her. So that codependency that I was just stuck in, and wanting her love, her approval, and just defending that with everything that I had. So even though she was in that manipulation and I felt like she had this control over me and everything that I decided for my life, it was as if I was waiting for her approval in order for me to do it, for me to just take leaps and be fearless about my decisions, about who I am and the core. I was just stuck in that toxic dysfunction, in that wound, really. So the first step was coming out of that denial and sitting with the pain and the frustration and the anger of feeling and allowing myself to be controlled and manipulating into living the way that she wanted me to live. And let that sink in. And it's something that I chose, right? Because of the wound of wanting my mother's love, unconditional love, to accept me, to love me by the way that I am, and not getting that. And that is something, it's like a funeral. Like even me saying that, there has to be a death of this idea, of this fantasy, for you to reborn into the person that you truly are, into the person that I am. So after really sitting with the pain, and it takes time, there is no timeliness with this. It takes time to be in that sadness, in that anger, in that wanting to just tell her how much she's hurt you and how her ideals are so wrong and how much it hurts, and that justification of needing to constantly prove how she's hurt me, right? How your mother has hurt you. So there comes a point of shedding, of being in the pain, and diving deep into this, because naturally what we want to do is escape this pain, because it's so deep rooted into the person, then into the biggest wound that we have. Imagine, this is where all the relationships come from. So you start seeing how you've suppressed yourself, denied yourself, how much fear you've had to be who you are, speak from your truth, be assertive in your authenticity because of this wound. So a lot of hate and anger comes from this. But the transformation, and that's what's on the other side. And that's where I also want to come to, is by processing this wound and finally speaking up of how this jail, this slavery to this love that you'll never receive, right? When you have that dysfunction and that mother wound, we're in this constant state. It's like, if I just say it, how she'll finally understand, and then she'll get it, then she'll love me. That time will never come. And that is something to sit with. That's something that I had to sit with. Understanding, fully sitting with the thought and the anger that moment will never come for whatever reason. And the reason that I have discovered through a lot of my teachers as well is that they have not been able to give that love to themselves. So how can she give that love to me, right? She's never allowed herself to own her power, to break free from codependency, to break free from that mother wound. So how can she give that to me if she has not given that to herself? And that's the transformation. That's the empowerment. That's us claiming back our power. And the transformation that happens the moment that we decide to start shifting and start nurturing ourselves and healing that wound is where the true liberation comes. That true liberation comes where you start getting your strength from your core, from the base of who you are. Start discovering, how do I want to dress, right? How do I want to have relationships with women? That's another thing. I was so resisting, and I still have that resistance with relating with women, because women equals hurt, equals manipulation, equals gaslighting, equals they have something unsaid underneath their motives that they're gonna, like a snake, like just wah. And I had to heal that, right? There are women that are loving, that are caring, that their intentions come from a place of love, of creating that safe space for me. So I needed to heal that wound to start opening myself up to the life and to the relationships that I truly want, that the base of it is love, is empowerment, is being, allowing each other to just be who we are. And that's where the magic is. That's where the power is. That's where the transformation and the freedom is. So if you are someone that is struggling with your mother wound and is stuck in this state of ego, right? So when we're still in that toxic mother wound, our ego is either a superhero or is our inner critic, right? So it's either, you should know better, you should have raised me better, you should be able to know how to talk to me and listen to me and not shove all your ideals to me, right? That's the super ego. And the inner critic is like, yes, mom, anything you say, oh yeah, you're right, I'm not good enough. I need to keep changing for you. I need to keep molding myself to what the image that you want me to live, right? That's the inner critic. And the healing comes in that power, in that center, in accepting both, but choosing to be the person that you are born to be, away from that mother wound. And recreating that love and that mother that we all have inside of us, that is nurturing, that is loving, that is accepting, that accepts us the way that we are in exactly the moment that we are in our healing. To come back to that power and that acceptance, just free zone. The wild, the tender, the balance, that center. And that's what the healing work does, and healing the mother wound does. And the more that you heal that wound, the more you open yourself up to receive. You're not afraid anymore. You're open, wide open, with your heart wide open to receive abundance, meeting people, creating, traveling, expanding, meeting the men of your dreams, the woman of your dreams. When you start healing that mother wound, that is in direct correlation to all the relationships that we have. So I hope that this message reaches you. I can't even talk anymore. Reaches the depth of who you are and empowers you to claim back your power and to start the healing journey of the mother wound. Thank you. Sending you the biggest love. You can do this in empowerment. Mwah.